Hello, and before you get started on this episode of Zapped to the Past, we would just like to give a massive shout out to the following people: Andy Marsh, Cole Hutchinson, David Hearn, Sven Oser, 2000 DC, Gary Heather, Roger McNally, Lee Dove, Ben Granville, Mark Fletcher, Etienne Vettingfeld, Niall Bullitt, Tim TJ Walker, Phil Sowerby, Joshua K, Rune P, Nick James, Daniel Spreadbury, Peter Price, Richard Davey, Dennis B, AL82 Retro, Liam Carew, Dylan Dark, Alistair McMillan, Dan Wales, Gary Wilson, Oscar Jacobson, Clyde Radcliffe, Adam Askew, Leo Staples, Jason Hutchins, David Stringer, Chris Snowden, David Winter, Mike's Vintage Tech, Runester71, Pete Muller, Deadlock, Samuel Hodgson, David Witkowski, Graham Orty, and Stephen Knock. These amazing people have backed our Patreon at the C64 tier. Support they offer is just plain awesome. If you want to join them, get a mention in next month's shout out, access to our Discord server, early access to ad-free episodes, and the Patreon-only exclusive episode each month, then sign up at patreon.com/Zap to the Past for well less than the price of a pint of beer. And now, on with the show. Welcome to episode 233 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is mostly a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We were using the magazine Zap 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, and we're in no way affiliated with Zap 64 itself, but we have covered all those games now, so that is no longer happening. This week, we continue our look at those games that were reviewed in the successor to Zap 64, Commodore Force, over the period of 1993 and 1994. There were only 45 new games reviewed over this period, and some issues had no new games reviewed at all. So we're not doing this in chronological order, but rather taking a sample from those 45 each month until we run out and have to think of something else to do. Graham, this is the fourth Force episode, which is not easy to say, especially if you're Sean Connery. But is the Force with us? Or is it just another load of Commodore farce?
Well, here we are again with 4 more games to look at least one of them is on par with that crappy joke. So we begin with a bag full of long and short sticks, and of course some dimpled balls, as we explore the fairways, bunkers, greens, and flags of Nick Faldos Championship Golf. After that, prepare yourself for another trip down the bumpy grey highways of somewhere or other as we zoom around lettuce leaves and all sorts of flickery awfulness in Crazy Cars 3. Not had enough? Well, there's always room for Yorkshire puddings, it seems, or at least a game that borrows the colour scheme from them, as we space taxi some cave dwellers around some brown caves in the aptly named or is that I don't know, column A, column B, you decide. And then finally, we buzz merrily into the honey and spoon-fueled world of insects on a quest for flowers, pollen, and probably a purpose in the not-so-stingy B-52. It's always good to see Nick Faldo make a welcome return to C64 land, or at least one of the Faldos. Remember, don't cross the Faldos. A Faldonic eruption serves nobody at this time. Anyway, on the green! Farce. Commodore Force indeed. Commodore Forced.
I don't know.
Forced. It was. These games were forced out of some dark creature's orify.
Well, a couple of them were. Well, maybe one of them. One of them looks like it has, because it's quite brown.
Yeah, one of these games is way browner than the others. But you know what? It's a voyage of discovery, and that voyage is shit. So,
but
I wish I could say that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's maybe one in there that's all right. We'll see.
Maybe one in there that's all right. But the good thing is we only have this to do once a month now.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping there'd be some like key finds in there. There haven't been really so far. Well, maybe there is a little bit, but there hasn't been like one like game that's gone. We've both gone like, wow, we weren't aware of this. It's just, I know it's we say it all the time. I know it's things are winding down, aren't they? I mean, it's obvious.
Massively. Yes,
and of course they are, but and that's understandable. So I suppose it's but does it mean you just have to release any old iron? Does it mean you have to release any old crap? I don't know. It just seems a bit of a...
I think so.
I was hoping it would be a flourishing farewell as opposed to a kind of a flush down the bog. But I'm trying to keep an open mind. We do get to play these games obviously less frequently, which is good in some ways, but also of course the podcast has expanded its remit to do other things, and that's been quite exciting as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's allowed us to do other stuff, which is nice. And so, and I think we're going to find maybe, if the average is anything to go by over the next few episodes where we play the C64 games, I think there's going to be one or two gems. I have a feeling there'll be a couple of gems in there somewhere. We just haven't got to them all yet, maybe.
You're just hoping, aren't you? You're hoping against hope. You're praying against prey.
If our percentage of, if the ratio we've worked out over the lifetime of this podcast is anything to go by, there's just simply less games, which means there's simply going to be less gems, but there's normally at least one or two. So,
yeah, it's usually, yeah, there is. I mean, but today we've got 4 games, haven't we? 4 more games.
We do.
4 more games from Commodore Force. So should we just get into them? Should we just get going?
Yeah.
Let's just get going. Let's get going. All right, let's get to our first game this week. And that game is over to you, Graham, to tell us all about another multiple version of Nick Faldo's Championship Golf.
Yes.
There's no apostrophe on the front cover.
No, it's the return of the Faldos. All of them, all the Nicks. They're all here. Hi, Nick, Nick.
This is a joke 5 years in the making.
It is. Well,
more than 5 years, 5.5.
Get it right. Just get it right. Know where your apostrophes go or don't. Anyway, Nick Faldo's Championship Golf got a somely 91% in the pages of Commodore Force. And it's $14.99. That's quite heavy on the price, though, for this timing, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about what's it all, what's in there. Publisher is Grand Slam. The design was Arc Developments. Producer is Paul Chamberlain. Now, he did the production behind Deliverance 2 and Zamzara. Do you remember him? They were quite good.
Vaguely.
And also the other producer, there's 2 producers, Stephen B. Sargent. He only produced this as far as I can ascertain, or I didn't write it down, possibly. The coder, of course, is Neil Patterson. He's done Liverpool. Well, I normally, if I leave it blank, it means they've not done anything else. I think if I don't put another thing after it. Neil Patterson, he did Liverpool, the computer game. That's the coder. Now, Liverpool, the computer game, is about the football team, not just a Liverpool simulator, as I discovered.
That'd be great.
I think there's mileage
just
in it.
Walking around the Albert Dock.
Yeah, exactly. Go to those giant beetle statues, which are quite interesting. So,
yeah. Could do that.
Which amusingly prompted, you're not here, you see, so I can say this, amusingly prompted my wife to say, are they life-size? I'm like, no, the Beatles weren't giants.
They
were popular, but not actual giants. Yeah.
They're as big as the Cyclops out of... that's why I measure giant sort of thing. The Cyclops out, is it one of the Sinbad films?
Yes.
He's pretty big.
The Sinbad giant is a WWF wrestler, probably. Anyway, graphics here, while we digress. Graphics are Gary Tong. It's the only one he did. He only did this, Gary Tong. And the box art was Robin Jakeway. And as far as I know, it's the only box art he did. He probably did more. I didn't look. So, full disclosure, I didn't even look. Poor Robin. Never looked at his other art. There's other credits here, though. Jamie Moore gets an additional credit for additional course design. John Simpson's just thanked. So is Julie White. Nick Faldo is thanked. Of course he is. Stephen Hall is thanked. And Stylus Design is thanked for the packaging. This was released on the Commodore 64 first, which surprised me, actually, according to the release by date schedule anyway. Then it was on DOS, Amiga CD32. And there's other versions of this on other things. I don't know if they're the exact same game, though. They're the only ones listed on Moby. But when I looked into it, there was like a Mega Drive variation. But I don't know if that's just one of the other Nick Faldos that made a game.
The multiplicity of Nick Faldos.
It's the Faldo-verse.
There's thousands of him playing randomly on golf course. I was playing yesterday down the open. I met Nick Faldo. That's weird. I was at so-and-so and I met Nick Faldo.
Exactly. Quantum Faldo. It's Faldo tunneling. So,
ew.
Yeah, I want to think about that. All right, so it's a golf game then, isn't it, this?
I hope so.
And yeah, yeah. Nick Faldo,
Funny if it was a
pretty famous for that.
shooter.
Maybe it is. One of the other Faldo domains. On the C64, though, this whole golf thing was a bit ruled early on by one game, wasn't it? Leaderboard. So it's always nice, I think, to see if something else comes along, to at least try and give that a bit of a run for its money, to try and take it on. Someone's got to take on Leaderboard. It can't just win everything all right from the get-go. Damn it. Yep. So golf, then. Well, we need to think about what golf is, because, you know what? If we ever explained it, well, I'm going to. Golf is played by using a set of clubs to hit a small ball from a starting point, the teeing ground, into a hole marked with a flag in as few strokes as possible. A standard course has 18 holes, each with a par figure representing the number of strokes an expert would be expected to take. Players work through the hole by driving off the tee, advancing down the fairway and finishing on the closely mown green, where a putter rolls the ball into the cup. The terrain deliberately gets in the way. Bunkers, water hazards, trees, and rough grass all penalise wayward shots. Scoring is cumulative, and unusually for a sport, low is good. Add your strokes across all 18 holes and compare the total to the course par. Finishing 1 under par on a hole is a birdie, 2 under an eagle, 1 over is a bogey. In casual play, a handicap system levels the field by subtracting a player's established average advantage, so a beginner and a seasoned player can compete meaningfully. I didn't know that, did you? Etiquette matters too. Mm-hmm. You play in turn, keep quiet during others' swings, and repair the ground you disturb. Don't break the ground. 3 genuinely odd facts I thought I'd throw in about golf, because it's about golf, isn't it? First, golf has been played on the moon. Did you know that?
Yes.
Alan Shepard smuggled a club head and 2 balls aboard Apollo 14 in 1971 and took a one-handed swing in his spacesuit, claiming the ball went miles and miles. So there you go. Second, those dimples on the ball are not decorative. A smooth ball would fly roughly half as far because the dimples manage the airflow to cut drag and add lift. The dimples are necessary.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The odds of 2 players in the same group, each scoring a hole-in-one on the same hole, are estimated at around 17 million to 1. Yet, it does happen every few years somewhere in the world. There you go.
A lot of golf is played.
It is. Now, as for Nick Faldo, well, we better just one of the Nick Faldos. He owes his entire career, did you know this, to television. Faldo had never picked up a club until the age of 14, when he watched Jack Nicklaus at the 1971 Masters on a new colour set at home and decided almost on the spot that this was what he wanted to do. For that, his sporting energy had gone into cycling and swimming, and he was good enough at cycling to have thought about pursuing it seriously. He was nearly a cyclist, not a golfer. Who knew? The most unusual thing he ever did was to deliberately get worse. At the peak of his early success in the mid-1980s, he tore his swing apart with coach David Ledbetter and spent roughly 2 years rebuilding it, enduring poor results and public doubt because he wanted a technique that would hold up under major championship pressure. It worked. He went on to win 6 majors, 3 opens and 3 masters. And a partridge in a pear tree, I don't doubt after that.
That's pretty good.
His wins carried a couple of oddities of their own, though. At the Muirfield in 1987, he won the Open by playing 18 consecutive pars in the final round, one of the most metronomic closing rounds in the sport's history. Substitute the word boring for metronomic there. At the 1996 Masters, he started the final day 6 shots behind Greg Norman and won by 5. A swing of 11 shots produced as much by Norman's collapse as by his own steadiness. In other words, Norman got crapper and good old Faldo remained exactly consistent as he always was.
Absolutely.
He was also cheerfully off message when a microphone appears. Accepting the claret jug in 1992, he thanked the press from, in quote unquote, the heart of my bottom, a line still quoted decades later. Away from golf, he is a devoted fly fisherman. He later reinvented himself as a course designer and long-serving American television commentator. And I didn't know this, he was knighted in 2009. So he is properly Sir Nick Faldo. Who knew?
Who knew?
So one of the Faldos in the Faldoverse is...
I bet that was a long knighting ceremony.
Only one of them. Only one of them can claim that. Only one. All right, the game then. So some nice graphics in the UI in this, isn't there? And I think that counts for something. A bit of production never goes amiss, does it? And that was always something I thought Leaderboard lacked fundamentally. Lacks a bit of the pizzazz about golf. Not that it's a pizzazzy thing, but it didn't have much production around it. It was kind of golf, begin golf, go. So this is clearly, I think, influenced more by an arcade aesthetic a little bit, which is no bad thing. And it uses multi-loading diskiness to its advantage, I think, on the C64. So when things begin, you've got options with this, 2 courses, and a secret one on Mars on the other versions. I don't know if you know that. And you can name your players and select clubs, of course, as well. So I played as Mr. Egg, course, and which made for some funny commentary. I went for Mr. Egg because it says it's Mr. Egg's turn. Mr. Egg gets a birdie or whatever. It's quite funny. And after that, some details about the course that you'll want to know. Great long scrolling text about golf and about holes. And weirdly, if you read that with a kind of a sexy sort of saucy twist, it all sounds a bit and reads a bit differently. I won't do that right now, but you can do that in your own time. But you'll want to know some of those details about the holes because you will. The controls are different to leaderboard and arguably more golf-like, I think, in all fairness. After you've seen the kind of overhead view of the hole and seen all the key details, that's the distance, hole length, etc. I told you, it kind of feels a bit rude when you're talking about golf. I don't know why. Distance, hole length, I don't know. And your plan of attack. You'll see a relatively leaderboard-ish view. Exactly, stroke length. Ooh, way up. You see a relatively leaderboard-ish view, and then I think more details than it's chosen the 2 wood. You see a leaderboard-ish view. Damn it! Stop interrupting me, Wilson. I called you Wilson then. Oh, fucking hell, it's all gone wrong now. Why did we bring him into it? What is he doing here? Get out of here! Go back to the Faldo verse you're from. Right. So you see a relatively leaderboard-ish view of this when things begin. I think it's more detailed and a little bit quicker to render than leaderboard, which aren't bad things, are they? It's good.
Yeah.
If you push up here on the old joystick, you get your little mini menu at the top. Here you can see the map again if you want to. You can check your ball lie or how your balls are lying, of course. Adjust the strength of your swing, change your stance, check the wind speed and direction and change your club. You press fire to select, adjust it with the joystick direction, fire to finish, and then go back down onto the fairway. Nick stands at the bottom looking faceless, but at least dressed for the sport. And you move your target with the joysticks to influence the direction. Ready to swing? Good. Press fire. And at the top, you'll see your swing bar. There are 2 highlighted areas here along with the swing bar. The first is the wrist snap area, which you can choose to click in if you want to boost your shot. You need to swiftly tap the fire button in that zone, mess it up, and it can cause you problems, wrist problems that you don't want. The second area is the double click area. You don't. Not when you. If you don't want an handicap, definitely. The second area is the double click area. This zone varies in length, of course it does. This stroke area depends on length, varies in length depending on which club is being used. Of course it does. Click twice inside the zone ensures, clicking twice inside the zone ensures the flight of the ball is true. It's true. Miss the beginning of the zone, that will result in a hook and the ball will fly off to the left. Miss the second click, it will result in a slice and the ball will fly off to the right. Miss both clicks and you're going to just miss. That's it, you missed it, you idiot. Stupid idiot. Missed. Anyway, you'll do that for a while. Make your way along the fairway to the green, avoiding the sand trap bunkers and water traps and all the usual things that get in your way, and you'll eventually land on the green. Here, the view switches to an orthographic view. You move the target, and this will position Nick. You need to look carefully at the view, as this indicates where the green has slopes, etc. And you need to factor that into your putt. When using the putter, the power icon and swing icon are replaced by a single icon representing the strength of your putt. Move the pointer to the golfer's feet so it changes to a curved arrow and left click. The power will start to increase. Click again to stop it and the putt will be attempted. When on the green, you are given the aid of a grid that helps you show the undulation of the green. Use the curvature of that green for accurate putting. I think it's a rule we can all live by. Anyway, do that on or below, preferably par for that hole, and you'll score birdies, eagles, and everything else. And you'll get the lower score. Each hole you get, and your shots are counted up, of course. And it takes the less shots you do, the better, as I've already explained. That's kind of the rules of golf. That's how it plays. Okay, graphically, I thought this was nice. It looks the part, and it feels a little bit more accomplished than leaderboard in the overall looks department. It feels a bit more like a golf tournament. And leaderboard always felt a little bit lonely, didn't it? And I guess, leaderboard lonely or flat. Maybe it felt, I know it's 3D, but I think it just felt a little bit flat, as in lifeless flat. Like flat lemonade, flat Coca-Cola. You can drink it, it's just not as nice, is it? It's not quite as sparkly as you thought it was going to be. Bit disappointing. But it's always playable. It's always drinkable. You can drink it. But I thought the graphics here had a bit of texture to them, a bit of detail on the trees. That's good. Needs a bit of that in the golf game. It felt like he was on in a golfing place. Whatever you call those places where they do golf. Golf courses. That's that's the word I was looking for. A golf place. A place for golf. Anyway, it's a shoe keg. It's a keg. It's a shoe.
It's somewhere I can go and stroke, length,
some kind of course snap that they play this game on. What would that be?
With swingers.
We have plenty of king of the swingers. I would say the graphics marginally better depending on your view, I suppose, and how you perceive the graphics in leaderboard. But I think the graphics around the actual course and that part certainly are much better. the leaderboard itself, the way you select clubs, the different selection screens. They're all nice, big, bold, colourful, very clear, nicely designed. The way you choose, or you can load players, you can name them, you can have a CPU player against. The layout and the general look and feel of the game has a really nice graphical qualities all the way through, and I thought that was a big win. It's not as good maybe in the golf animation department, but I know maybe it's not the be all and end all, is it? Really, for that.
No.
And the physics is okay too. I mean, it's kind of pitch and go really, this, but the slice and the hook parts work as you would expect them to, and it doesn't play too badly in terms of physics. So it's not off the chart crazy. It is just physics, and it works. The putting sections, I think, actually are slightly better than leaderboards in that respect, because they do feel like the balls do roll down the hills, and they do roll down and take that into account. And I felt that actually represented a little bit of a better view of putting, whereas leaderboard always felt a little bit flat. I think it goes for the whole game, really, this. All of the sections that you play, the whole game is pretty tough. It's quite a challenging game. However, I've had two thoughts on this. Initially, I was like, this game's too hard. The controls are a pain in the ass. What on earth? And I kept getting crazy wind speed. So at one point, I was trying to play on a particular hole that had 45 and 35 mile an hour winds. That's a challenge, even for Nick Faldo, and he's a very powerful man. However, what I found was that the controls are painful initially, but you just got to get kind of used to the way it works and stop thinking in leaderboard. You got to, stop thinking leaderboard, a bit like that guy in Firefox.
Yeah. You have to think in Faldo.
So, pushing up, think Faldo. Which Faldo? Pushing up and adjusting the strength is awkward in a way, because it initially feels a little bit odd to do that. But remember, this is golf, so you don't have to rush everything. Take your time with things. It's all about that particular bit. Golf is about that, and this represents that in quite a clever way. And so leaderboard had a more of an immediacy to it. This actually makes you think a little bit about your positioning of your feet and the ball lie, and it gives you a little bit of space to think about that, and that's a good thing. That makes it feel a bit more golf-like. So after you do that for a while, pardon the pun, you get into the swing of things, and you actually find yourself kind of getting into it. Now, I read someone on Lemon say, and I think this is an interesting point, they felt the difficulty in this game, some people were criticizing it, and I initially was, but they feel it actually plays a bit more like golf, because golf is actually quite difficult. Leaderboard was actually too easy. And that's not a thought that had ever really occurred to me before, because leaderboard was kind of the only golf game really I'd ever played on the C64. But when I went back to play leaderboard, and I went back to play leaderboard after this to see if that was a reality, if that wasn't just my imagination. Leaderboard is actually pretty easy to play as a golf game, which is good. But it's actually not a very good representation of golf, because it makes golf seem very easy, which it's not. So I thought to myself, actually, that person on Lemon's got a point. This is actually closer to a golf game because of its challenge, because golf isn't easy. It's actually quite hard to do, and that's a good thing. So I thought leaderboard maybe oversimplified golf in such a way that I'd never noticed it before. And this actually doesn't, and made golf seem a little bit more challenging. And I quite like the challenge, actually. It made me feel a bit... when it comes to the immediacy of a golf game, you're hard pushed to beat Neo Tournament Masters Golf, whatever it is, Neo Masters on the Neo Geo, for that immediate arcade type play. But leaderboard was always kind of a good also ran. I think this is, arguably one of the great golf games as well. So the real question after all that is, was I able to play a decent round of golf? And the answer is yes. I got into this, and I think the nuanced controls, the ability to actually take your time and play golf as a golfer, even if it is Nick Faldo or any one of them, I think there's something to offer here. And the multiplayer, I didn't do that, but I imagine multiplayer, this is pretty damn cool. So it's a decent golf game, probably the next best thing to leaderboard on the system by a mile. And while it does have little quirks, they're workable. And when it really comes down to it, can you play a decent game round of golf in this? And yes, you can. What would I give this out of 5, Adrian? 4. So, other golf puns are available.
Oh, God. That's well below par.
Over to you. What did you think, Nick? Below par.
Well, yeah.
Wash your mouth out for that crappy joke. That's worse than mine.
You can talk.
Below par. Goodness me.
Oh, dear. Anyway, it's good. It's not leaderboard, but what it is. What it is, though, is like, I'm in agreement. It's probably the second best golf game on the machine that we played. And we played a lot. Hole in one and all that kind of wobbly nonsense, and Jack Nicklaus's longest title in the world.
I forgot about that one.
There's a solid list of options, 2 courses to go at. And it's like you said, it's a tougher task than leaderboard. This is a harder game. The controls are harder. Control system is quite interesting, I thought. Getting used to with the wrist snap and then the double tap to avoid a hook or slice. You've got to be quite quick with that fire button, and it gets smaller or longer sort of thing depending on the shot and the club you're using. So there's some nice, choose the right club and you have more option choice to actually make it right. Choose the wrong club and you're probably going to not hit it. But that's on you. You took the wrong club, you idiot. So when you get the hang of this, you get some decent control over your shot. I mean, I was slicing it probably all the time because of my slow reactions, but, try and get it in there. But once I did get used to it, it's all right. I thought the visuals were good. For a golf game, I thought they're good. The faster to appear and draw them world-class leaderboard. And it does quite a clever thing in that it draws them behind when the map screen's on.
Yeah. Nice trick,
so the map screen's on, that disappears and the course is back in front of you.
Yeah,
it doesn't draw like the other games we've seen do it sort of thing. And I think that's a really good thing. And it does it quickly in the background. So I thought that was quite nice. The issue I have with it, and this is a weird thing, I like the UI, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that having to push up to get to the options each stroke becomes a pain. I think each stroke should start with you in the UI.
Yeah, good.
Because the number of times I pressed fire as I was either wasn't thinking or by accident, and just overhit my shot because it does it at full power and I've got that club and I'm aiming that way. I was like, oh, God's sake, it just immediately starts as soon as you press fire. And I did that a few times. So I think if you were in the UI, you wouldn't do that because you have to purposely come down to the green, to the shot area, so the UI disappears. And it's good as well that the visuals take up most of the full screen as well, whereas leaderboard's always been in that kind of not full screen, has it? So this takes up more. But yeah, that UI, which is good, and there's a lot of options there. And the left and right took me a while to figure out that those arrows actually move your left and right view. So it's like, how do I turn left and right? And there's arrows there. Press them. Map screen comes up and it redraws, but it goes quite quickly. There's some nice, clever landscape drawing code in this, which does it pretty quickly. But I just wish each shot would, from a usability point of view, just start in the start me in the UI because I want to change stuff. I'm probably going to hit it full strength. I might want to change my club. Don't let me push up to that. Anyway, this is a small thing, but it took me a while to get used to it. Further, I think moving your view left or right also loses any options. That's a bit of a pain. So if you change your strength and you change your club, but I want to go left a bit, you press that arrow, you have to go reset them all as well. So just little niggles in the kind of the way that those little things work.
It sort of is a little getting used to it. It's making you think a little bit more, I think.
So if you've got to aim first and then go change all your stuff, which is okay, fair enough. And I don't know. I think I preferred leaderboard's strength meter. Hold down the fire button for your strength rather than having to pick it before. I don't know. I think either or. It's a different way of doing it.
I think it's not that it's different. Well, it is different, obviously. I think you're so used to that, and it's so great that when you see something that's making you do it slightly differently, it's like, it doesn't do it the leaderboard way. But it did make me stop and think a little bit more, and going less instantly into it, which is leaderboard's very instant like that. And I think it's just a different way. But I get what your point, though. I think it should have started in those options. You imagine if it was just a golfer just walked up and just smacked the ball with the first club he had and just didn't actually fidget around and do that.
Yeah.
So he didn't have no options for that. It's no option Faldo. He just comes up, whacks the ball in any direction. It doesn't matter.
Get the proper Faldo in. Where's the good Faldo buggered off to?
It's Faldon't. It's Nick Faldon't. Don't get any involved. You want Nick Faldo.
And it took me a while to get used to the putting as well. And sometimes there's some incline, and you can see sometimes the inclines, but sometimes I would hit it, but it just then veer off to the right. I was like, well, it didn't tell me there was a curve there. I didn't know that. And like, that's a bit sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I did a couple of times, but I got used to it. It's fine. I mean, I was crap at it. Although I wasn't crap at it. I got a couple of pars, but mostly bogeys. But I was getting used to it, and I wanted to get better at it. So I think this is a pretty good golf game. It is clearly the second best one on the machine. It plays well. It's pretty fast. Expensive though, isn't it? Expensive.
15 quid's a lot of money in 19.
On tape, that is. It's 18 on disc.
Ouch, that's a bit heavy.
I know. Yeah, so 15 quid on tape for 2 courses. I know there's a moon, whatever, but
that's at least two. That's at least 2 Warhammer miniatures.
Yeah, well, considering
maybe
you got well, and maybe a lick of paint.
No chance of that.
No. But considering world class leaderboard is probably out on budget at this point, this is a big ask. But if you want something different and a tougher golf challenge, you are right. This is the toughest and best. This is the best tough golf game on the machine,
and it's endorsed by one of the Faldos. Any one of them, really.
Which one we never know. Absolutely,
Nick one.
There's a digitized Faldo. Did you notice? Because he's got his
I thought it was a pretty good image
on one of the title screen.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
It's a pretty good sort of thing, but I don't believe that's the real Nick Faldo signature.
I hope it's not, because it's there going, who's writing all these checks into my name? Why would I buy that? I haven't bought a bloody fleshlight and I'm never going to, Deirdre. That's Nick Faldos, one of the Nick Faldos wives.
I hope so as well. Oh, it's like, by the way, The Grasshopper. Do you ever read The Grasshopper by Bernard Suits? Which seems a bit of a tangent, but he used it's one of the earliest books on game design. And he used golf as an example of why about rules, because he said, what's the easiest way to play golf? And people go, well, try and hit it in the hole. But no, just pick the ball up and put it in the hole. But games put rules in the way, and that's what makes something a game.
Well done, Grasshopper. That's and if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around, does it clap?
Yeah. So
It's well said. Yeah, I like that. I like that philosophy. That's nice. I'm going to use that.
That's the thing about games.
Presentations.
Games put stuff in your way to make them a game. That's what makes something a game.
I'm going to tell Nick Faldo's son, Aldo. He'll be into that.
I thought it was Mick.
No, it's Mick Faldo and there's Aldo Faldo.
Aldo's Dick Faldo, Mick Faldo, Rick, Pick.
Nobody would be called Pick.
He's run out. The fifth one's called Kick. Kick Faldo.
Works his way through the alphabet, does he, by any chance?
Absolutely. There's the one named after a pen.
For God's sake.
Bick.
Right. Yes, I got the joke. I just wasn't going to say it out loud. I'm not entertaining these foolishness a moment longer.
Okay. All right. Anyway. Okay. Well, there you go. Nick Faldo's Championship Golf. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good golf game. You'd have a good time with that on any machine. But the C64 version is decent. There you go.
I'll do.
Let's move along because I'm sure, Graham, as ever, the quality will continue.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we come to Crazy Cars 3. So when a game like Crazy Cars 3 comes along, you wonder what happened with Crazy Cars 1 and 2, or just wonder if it's a game about 3 cars or something. Maybe it's just 3 crazy cars.
I wish it was.
Yeah, that would be funny. But, like clown cars, just 3 clown cars in a row. So the clowns get out. But upon investigation, there was a Crazy Cars 1 and 2. And so for the process, because we never saw them on the podcast, I gave them a go, I think. And I think I gave each one about 15 seconds of my time. And that is time I'll not get back. And I regret those 30 seconds to this day. Because they're awful. They're beyond compare. Perhaps the worst racing games I've seen on the machine. A pair of dreadful horrors that should never have been allowed to be foisted on the game by public.
So
they
bad.
were. This is by Titus, of course it is. A comment on Lemon from someone who quoted the developer of Crazy Cars 1 and 2 states the company was terrible to work for and gave him 1 month to make them. There's no wonder they were shite.
Exactly.
But I think you could still produce something better than that in a month because this is terrible. Anyway, Crazy Cars 3, still from Titus. They did Crazy Cars 1 and 2. Titus have got less than a stellar history. Wild Street,
just a bit.
Dick Tracy, Titan,
Egg. Oh, God.
to their name, along with Crazy Cars 1 and 2 I know more about
dirty
them.
now.
But anyway, the development is now with a team. And Titus were a French development company, that in Paris. So there's rather just one guy who made Crazy Cars. So now got a team on it. So on code, we've got Louis Estorge and Sylvain Lab. Visuals are by Christophe Colomieux and Suhil Rahi. And finally, audio is by Guy Shavit.
Shavit, mate.
Shavit. That's that song, isn't it? Shavit. Anyway, that sort of new metal song. So before we get into this, it's worth noting that there are significant differences in the game between the disc and the tape version. And it's clear that the Commodore Force review, where they only gave it 34%, was based on the tape version. Because in the middle of the review, there's this little sort of clip in. I've got this clip in here. I'm just going to read this out. So there's basically, they said they spoke to the Amiga Force crew. So the Amiga Force reviewers. It says, on the Amiga, you can bet on the outcome of the race. Can't you do that on the C64? No. But have any strategy elements survived, like managing your money and choosing which race to enter? No. How about upgrading your car and repairing damage? Yeah, but the optional extras automatically appear on your control panel. You don't get to choose what you want. If you haven't already guessed, the long-suffering Commodore 64 owners once again being offered a cut-down travesty of a game with little more than the title in common with the 16-bit version. And all that is true of the tape version, whilst the disc version does actually feature all those elements.
It does.
So it's weird. I'm not having to go at CF Commodore Force here. They obviously just reviewed the tape version. That's probably what got sent to them, so they just reviewed what was in front of them. But I can't for the life of me figure out why Titus didn't send the full disc version to them for review. Because it even has these notes in the instructions. It says you begin with $6,000, disc version. 9 boosters are available, disc version. and then it says, please be patient during disc access. Then it says you must finish in first position to run the next race, cassette version. If you lose a race, you restart at the beginning of that race, cassette version. If you win, you automatically receive options at the end of the race, cassette version. There's differences, massive differences. And it's really odd. But essentially, the cassette version just starts with the race. There's no extras around the racing. You have 3 boosts per race. There's no way to upgrade your car. Through choice, upgrades just get added. And you race all the races in order, and each one is a separate load, amazingly. But that's the tape version. What I'm going to talk about here is the disc version, which does feature all those elements from the 16-bit version. So interesting. When the game loads, we get a shuddery logo. A shuddery logo. And that shudder is an FLI effect, because I think on the cartridge it didn't allow me to turn it off. It was on everything. It's on everything, awful. Graham. It's a right pain in the eye.
It's horrid.
God knows why they did it. It's like they've seen a demo with this thing in, but it's just so annoying.
It's awful.
We also get some credits, and whereas the tape version just says press space and you start racing, here you press fire and you can pick your racer from one of 20 on offer. Each one has an attractive little visual for what they look like, but it's ruined by that stupid flicker effect. Like, I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to blend the pixels together, but it hurts your eye.
Looks awful.
Yeah. Anyway, selecting your racer gets us some loading for the visual of America, complete with the ever-present flicker. This is now full screen flicker. Oh, it's awful. So on this map, there are 10 stars. Some are yellow, some are brown, and one is purple. Each of these marks a race you can enter. Yellow ones denote you have enough money to enter that one. Brown ones are out of your price bracket. And the purple one is the final race for this division. There are 4 divisions in total, which you need to work your way up. There is some kind of story to this where you and your Lamborghini want to become the best racer in America, but to do that, you have to work your way through the 4 divisions to get to the top. That's it. Inspiring stuff. Whatever. At the top of the map is your character and your score, money, and present damage to your car. In the bottom left are some options. There's one called drivers. This allows you to see all the drivers and their stats and present score. There's some options which allow you to save and load a game. And you can buy a pass for $50,000 to attempt the division challenge. You can go to the shop to upgrade your car, or you can go to the garage to fix any damage you might have incurred in a previous race. The upgrades you can buy are dependent on the division you are in, and the manual does say to refer to the Amiga version here. So it says Division 4, you can get super tires for dry and rainy weather, radar detector to warn of police. You get speed up 1. There's 5-speed auto or 5-speed manual, gives you boost to top speed. In Division 3, you can get snow tires for icy weather, super brakes to slow down fast, and speed up 2. Division 2 gets a 6-speed auto or a 6-speed manual, and a roadster gives you better road holding. And finally, Division 1, night vision glasses to see in the dark, nitrous oxide speed up, and a radar jammer to foil roadside police.
Ooh.
Now, obviously, at this point, you only start with $6,000, so you don't have much money, so you can't buy much of this at the moment. You can buy a couple of bits, but it's best thing to do is just choose a race and get on with it. This is funny. You control a black arrow. Parts of the screen are black. In the notes, it has this to say, note, the arrow is very dark and may be difficult to see on the background. It's in the notes. Make it white.
Make it lighter. Yeah.
Make it white, then you idiot. Or make it black with white middle, or white with a black, whatever.
Anything.
Just put an outline on it. When you move it over a star, you get into the race. Info on the race, such as the races you'll be up against, the fee to enter, the prize pot if you win. It sort of pops up in a little window. I have to say, this front end is all right. It's quite nice. How good the locals are, the weather, and whether there'll be any police. By the way, all those options and garage stuff that I was going through up above, they're all separate loads. So a load for the thing, and then a load back to the map screen. So it's all very laborious to get through. That's the kicker here. That's the downside. The only saving grace is the nice music playing here, because there's some nice music, some okay tunes going on. While the race details are up, press fire. We get more loading, and then we get a flickery image with the races you're able to put. With the races you're going to be up against, and you're able to put a wager on the outcome of the race. You kind of just somewhere in some location. There's them at the top, and you can either bet and raise. They will bet to start off with, and you can either bet against them or you can stand. You can raise the bet and try and make them into more money. And what basically is it? If you win the race, you get the prize pot from this, along with the prize pot for the race itself. So it's so cool. Then when everyone stands and the race is about to start, you've got to change the disc because the race is on the other side to get to the race. So after some more loading, and so finally we're at the race. And after all that, and some nice visuals in the front end and a whole load of flicker, I was expecting, let's say more. Positives. Okay, let's try the positives. I like the horizon visuals, which change for each location. There's some cities, there's some snow-covered mountains, there's some hills and the like. There's some nice shading there. There's the positives. The view is the usual 3D behind the car view, and the road is a narrow, very narrow, just grey triangle stretching out beyond you. At the top, you've got the UI. You've still got the flicker on, Graham. It's still flickering. The UI is flickering with an empty square on the left, then a couple of boxes with your boosts remaining in one and your damage below that, your present score and the distance to go at the end of this race, and then some empty squares that will be filled later when you buy stuff from the shop. Okay. On the track, in the middle, is your red Lamborghini, and either side are your competitors, and that's it. Noticeable by its absence, you may not have heard me say, is your position in the race. And considering you need to come first and have no idea where you are in the race, that's quite the oversight. What a stupid thing not to include. It's just a bloody number.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the screen is your speedo, and what I presume is a gear stick, although you've got no gears to start off with until you actually buy one, and they're quite expensive, so you're not going to have them for a while. But so it does nothing. To start your race, you press forward. Just go and hold forward until you get to top speed. Then you steer around the annoying cars that slowly come towards you. Sometimes they overlap each other. Should you hit them, then you might take some damage, and if you do, you lose a couple of seconds from your top speed. You can press the space bar to boost. It will give you a massive speed boost, and your boost bar will then count down. You start off with 9, I think it says, and then you have to buy extra ones. You steer with left and right and brake with down. Dependent on the course you've chosen, you might get a nice flat one or one that undulates before you up and over hills. The tracks have corners. There's no markings down the middle. So the only way you know you are moving are the trackside objects. And there's one for each track. So in the snow, you get nothing but snowmen. In the fields, you get cacti, and so on. That's it. The enemy cars will almost travel in pairs and drive around the oncoming traffic. And whilst this may not seem a problem, it is, because the road is only wide enough for 3 cars at a time. So if you have a random car and 2 CPU taking up the rest, you're just stuck. You are stuck behind them. And whilst you can shove random cars out of the way from the side, you cannot do that to the CPU races. So it's possible to just get stuck. And every time you just hit into them, you're losing your top speed and just get slower and slower. Not be able to get round things. It's very annoying. On some courses, you have the police that will show up, and these are as annoying as angry blue wasps. Is buzzing around you and slowing you down and doing constant damage to you, but not to the other CPU racers. Oh no, just you. When you're near another racer or a cop, their mugshot will show up on the flickery UI at the top for some reason. Should you win the race, then you collect your winnings from that race and the bets, and then reinsert this one and go back to the map screen and go through the arduous and boring process of buying stuff, repairing your car, and then swapping this to race again. But you'll not want to, because the payoff of the racing is nowhere near good enough for the faff you have to put up with. It's like that 1,000-mile Miglia thing. Lots of front end and shit racing. In 1993, there's no reason for the racing to be like this. We've had loads of decent 3D races. Lotus Esprit, Turbocharged, Power Drift.
Yeah.
Going all the way back, Pit Stop 2, even Boogie Boy sort of thing was pretty, was way better. There's loads. Good. It easily can be done on the machine, but the racing here is both annoying and monotonous. It's dead long as well. These courses go on forever. It's like a countdown from 600, and it's just like, oh my God. You don't even get a finish line. There's no finish line. When the distance gets to 0, you just stop. No. Just stop.
Of course you do. The
visuals are good in the front end, aside from that stupid flicker that flicks all elements of the UI throughout the game, but the in-game stuff is not up to what we've come to expect, and narrowness of the road makes driving a chore. On top of that, there's no car sound effect, and just the same tune with each race. So every track, every race, every moment feels the same by the change of background and colour. Later on, these kind of games will see these kind of things, Need for Speeds and those kind of things, burnouts and stuff, or they betting and this kind of like making your way through divisions to do similar things, with police and all that kind of chasing you down. Although I think did we get police in the early Need for Speeds? Was it the Need for Speed games we were looking at with it?
Yeah. I think so.
We had police in them. We've had police in other games as well. Like I think there was police in Great American, because let's face it, this used to be shit Great American Cross Country Road Race as well.
Yep.
Because that's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? So, the problem with this is either it shouldn't have been ported down to the 8-bit machines, or they should have got someone better. But it's Titus, so why would they? The Amstrad version, I had a look at that as well. It's got a wider raster bar highway road, but the sense of speed is just non-existent on the Amstrad version. It's dreadful.
I'm surprised.
This is crap. It's really not very good at all. It's got a flashy front end, and all that's lost on the tape version. So all the decent bits have actually been cut out. So all you're left with is the shitty driving parts on narrow roads and none of the fun tournament stuff or betting or anything like that. The bit that actually might have been interesting, or would have been if the racing had been any decent. Pointless port. Full price at that. $10.99. Jesus Christ. Power Drift was released on budget in 1992. There you go. It doesn't compare.
No.
It's better than Crazy Cars 1 and 2, but I've done shits that are better than those two. This is a bad game. It's a bad racing game. In 1993, there's no reason for this. No reason whatsoever. It's just another crap one in the Crazy Car series. Glad we missed the first two. Shame we got the third one. What did you think?
I thought this was a hateful piece of garbage. I also, I take great, I well, I won't take offence, but you insisted that I played Crazy Cars 1. You go, no, you got to try Crazy Cars 1. All you did was sheer pain. You may as well just push needles into my face. I was still struggling I was just struggling with the flicker of this bloody awful thing. The flicker's stupid. And just as a warning, if you are a bit sensitive to that kind of thing, in visually, I mean, if you've got any kind of, I hesitate to play this because that flickering, I think it's potentially, it could probably, cause trouble, I think, for people that are sensitive to that sort of thing.
Quite possibly.
So just as a genuine warning, and that's me joking, that's a genuine warning. Just if you're going to load this up and you do have any kind of sensitivity of epilepsy or anything like that, I would think twice about loading this one up because of that flickering. I'm surprised it doesn't have a warning on the box, but even if there was, you wouldn't be able to read it after you'd played the game once. No. It's just awful. We've moved on so much with these games that we had by the end of the run of Zap a few reasonable ones to go at. Not all of them were perfect, but they were all of them, including Outrun, better than this. This is shocking. It is clearly tried to borrow bits of Outrun and bits of other games and tried to hoy them into this. What's so bloody crazy about it? I mean, I like the idea of this kind of race tournament thing. I quite like that as a game thing. There's a number of games that have, that's a trope of racing games that's gone on to, do marvelous things. There's loads of games like that. I think Burnout Paradise. Can you imagine? This is like the proto Burnout Paradise. Only your eyes are the things that get burned out. It's awful in every possible way. From its lettuce leaf trees. Who draws trees like that? I'm no artist, and even I don't draw trees like lettuce leaves. They're just lettuce leaves on grey stalks. It's crappy road that doesn't actually go off into the proper horizon, just goes off into the green ground. Yeah. The cityscape was passable, but clearly somebody else drew that, and then it is just like a block of cityscape, and it just doesn't add up to anything coherent. Awful piece of garbage, this. There's nothing redeeming about it. They've even opened the bottom border. What was the point? What was the point for that little stain of UI you've got for the gear stick? It's just crap. It's so crap. Add to that all of the other things. Around the edges, if it wasn't for that flicker, the graphics would probably have been quite well realised in their own way. If they're not digitised from other versions or whatever, or however the Titus have done it. I don't like Titus as a company. Their games have been crap throughout all of it. They're one of the worst games companies there are out there. The worse than Techie Software and a few of the others that we've come across. Titus have a special place in C64 hell for this kind of repeated dog eggs that they keep. It's like waking up in the morning and finding there's a shit on your drive, and you think, where did that come from? So you clean it away, and then the next day there it is again. You think there is a dog around here that is just shitting on my drive, and it's called Titus, and here it is. I'd been for a while without one, and then all of a sudden I was reminded how rubbish they really are. This is crap. Really, really crap. So, no. And I didn't bother with the tape version on your recommendation because it's just, what's the point? The only thing that's actually okay about this is that bit that isn't on the tape. So if you bought this on disc, you were paying more for way less. So, actually you were paying more, but the only bit of the game that was passable was the bit that wasn't the game. Well, you were getting more around the game, which is the best bit. The tape we're getting, a bit, it was, no. Erase. And as they say in Blade Runner, move on.
Yes, send this to an off-world colony.
Exactly. The chance to begin again. And what's that? What's his name?
Not like this.
No. Definitely not like this. Oh, no.
Bloody rubbish. There you go. We finally had a Crazy Cars game, and it was shite. Let's move on. We still have 2 games to do. And the next one's over to you, Graham, to tell us all about
So this is...
Is that how you pronounce it?
Is it or is it I guess it's UG, isn't it? UG. Oh, that would be UGG, I think. I don't know, maybe they'd be breaching a copyright. They're a kind of bootmaker, I think. This is 71%. It's the Gibson's game.
It's the Gibson's game.
It got 71% by some miracle in Commodore Force. I don't know what was going on with them. $10.99 for this. $10.99. It's a lot of money in it for this. The publisher is Playbyte here. The conversion is Hype Software. That's Hype. H-A-I-P. Hype. The coder here is Hans Ippich. He did Bad Cat, Danger Freak, Pure Seed, and Kangaroody. Which is, for some reason, every time I say that makes me laugh. I don't know why, it just does. I think we played Bad Cat, we played maybe Danger Freak. I don't think we've played Pure Seed, thank God. And Kangaroody we've never come across, which I'm a bit disappointed about. Graphics are also by Hans Ipich as well. Musician is Alban Oswald. He did Kangaroody. Never get tired of saying that. All right, the aim of the game then. You're a pilot of a Stone Age helicopter. Stone Age. The goal is to pick up cave dwellers who appear at the entrances to the caves and ferry each one to the cave it wants to reach. You land next to a cave dweller and it tells you in a speech bubble where it wants to go, then climbs aboard. You fly to that destination and the figure automatically gets out. Deliver a passenger particularly quickly and it rewards you with a bonus symbol, which is just score. Only one object or figure can be carried at any one time. The destination of whoever is currently loaded is shown in your status bar. To get things started, you have an options menu. There is actually, I thought, quite an attractive title screen, but I'll come to that. When you press the fire button after the game's loaded, the options menu appears. If you are happy with the default settings or you just want to get things going, just press F1 to start. The faffy function keys of startdom. F1 starts the game. F2 enters a password. This has passwords, ladies and gentlemen, passwords. F3 is your difficulty, which is easy, medium. I think just easy and medium, actually. I don't think it had a hard. Maybe it did. I don't know. But either way, it starts on medium, I guess. F4 is player mode. You can toggle between 1 or 2 player. It said it was simultaneous. I didn't test it, so I'm guessing it might be. And F5 is your high score table if you want to bother with it. If you've collected enough points to even be in there, you won't have done. You won't play this for long. To steer the helicopter, you move the joystick. That helps it move around the screen. Push it up to rise. The longer you hold it up, the faster it climbs, annoyingly. So it's inertia-based flying, the worst kind of flying.
Why?
Release the stick. I don't like it. Release the stick and the helicopter automatically begins to fall, picking up speed as it drops. Push down to fall faster and left or right to fly in that direction. Obviously, you can also dive. The faster the descent, the deeper into the water the helicopter will go. Did you know that? Did you try it? Or did you just die? Oh, okay. You did. Good. So to play the game, you've obviously got to try and rescue. Well, you can rescue the people who fall in the water if you want. So if you collide with a cave dweller while you're landing, he'll fall from the platform into the water. He's falling in the water. And you can rescue the fallen figure by landing on the water. Now, I never successfully did that ever.
No,
he'll swim towards the helicopter. The one exception is the old man. Owing to his poor physical condition, he sinks after a short time and cannot be rescued. So the OAPs drown. Chirpy. And there's the energy, which is the tree and the stone. To keep going, you have to collect energy, land on a stone to pick it up, then throw it into the tree using the fire button and collect the fruit, which appears. Fruits are apples, lemons, oranges, bananas, cherries, pears, and strawberries. Hostile animals in this game should be avoided or stunned with a stone. So, the status line is this. During play, the status line appears along the bottom of the screen. It carries everything you need to track, available energy, score, transport orders, and so on. Reading from left to right, it is number of lives, energy bar, money bag, missions list, speech bubble, bonus counter, and bonus multiplier. In this game, you do have large or otherwise ungainly opponents. A game that only involved moving people from platform would get very boring, wouldn't it? So a number of opponents tried to make life difficult for you. There's a Triopterus, harmless as long as you leave him alone on his platform. Land on it and he treats you as an intruder and attacks you with his horn. Ooh. If there's no other way, the stone will put him out of action for a few seconds. There's a dinosaur. He sleeps peacefully on his platform and looks harmless, but his heavy snoring constantly threatens to blow your helicopter off course. Pterodactyls, though we don't call them that anymore. The most dangerous of the lot. Touch him and the helicopter crashes at once. You will hear a cry just before he appears. So the moment you hear that unusual noise, get ready to take evasive action. In two-player mode, two-player option is a simultaneous play with both players in helicopters. You've got to fly a helicopter each and carry out the tasks together, collecting figures and all the rest of it. You can share the work. One player collects energy while the other handles the transport. One beats while the other one approves, Adrian. I think it's the safe way of saying that. I knew that'd make you laugh.
Always does. I'm always a big fan of one beats while one approves.
Exactly. If a helicopter is destroyed or its energy runs out in that bit, the level ends and you have to restart the beginning. Okay. Enough of this gameplay shenanigans. All right. I'm going to sing a song to you, Adrian. Can you guess what that song's going to be?
No.
Golden brown, texture like sun. Well, this game is brown. So brown. That's a weird graphic style as well for the loading screen, which isn't terrible. And then the title screen appears and you're like, is this game pink and brown? And is this going to be what it's like all the way through? And you'd be right about that, wouldn't you? There's even a little animated sequence, which was, all right, it's all nice, even if the music wasn't at all. But there's a little intro thing. It's okay. You choose the options, like I said, and start. And then the brown begins, doesn't it? All the brown. As an idea for a game, this is essentially Space Taxi with cavemen, isn't it? It's kind of what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've seen that kind of twist before. So the issue here isn't that idea. It's the fuzzy brown graphics. So when you do get into the game, you've got a kind of a, like I've said, like a UI across the bottom of the screen. And the main game is the rest of the window, but it's in this awful color scheme. Brown, tan, green, and I guess pink and red, and maybe a bit of blue as well. It's horrid. Truly, truly horrid. So, like I said, an idea for the game, all right. But it's when you're playing the game and it's fuzzy brown graphics, it's hard to see where the cavemen are for a start. And that's where things generally go because there's so much brown on the screen. It's sort of where everything goes wrong. Brown walls with reddish brown ledges and then brown cavemen. It's too damn brown. And that overwhelms you with brown. That leaves you squinting to see anything through your eyes. And no one, Adrian, wants to have a squinting brown eye, let alone a pink one. It's too much. It's too much brown. The graphics are animated, I assume. I couldn't see through the brown fog. And the movement of things ranges from absurd to stupid. The helicopter is bloody brown inertia. It's a brown inertia nightmare, which quickly flies out of control, or is impossible to keep steady when you really need it to, or it just drops suddenly out the sky and goes, woo! You're like, why did you do that? Just does. Just what it does. It overwhelms itself with brown. So you get that kind of annoying drop-down thing. You lose lives, and then obviously you get to go again. There is affordance to the player in this. It comes in the form of level codes. But after 30 minutes on this, you'll brown out, and not in a good way. It's too much Dan Brown.
Dan Brown.
Not Dan Brown. It's not Dan Brown. This is no angel or demon. This is not Dan Brown. It's not easy to read with no big words. So I didn't enjoy this game at all. I thought it was awful. $10.99 worth of brown is not my way to spend any kind of time. And as much as they've tried to wrap it in what I guess is a funnish style, and I think there's maybe a hint of Monty Python-ish influence in here in the logo design. It looks a bit Monty Python, that kind of style of it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And
maybe there was an attempt at this. I got to level 2 by some undesirable miracle. I thought maybe please let there be a colour change. Just something to vary it. I would say grey walls would have been a good choice for this, but I guess they just have a very limited palette. Anyway, brown it is, all of it. Even the UI is brown. Brown! No one wants this. No one wants this much brown in a game. We haven't had it for a while, haven't we? This is it's like being trapped in a brownie or in a Yorkshire pudding or anything that's brown. I never wanted to eat anything brown for a week after playing this. No gravy, no Yorkshire puddings, no beef, nothing. I couldn't face it. Anyway, what do you think?
I think I might have, I don't know, my monitor settings. I could generally make stuff out. It is very brown. And did anyone want a weird brown space taxi clone set in prehistoric times? Was that what people were crying out for? Out on the streets with placards? Give us a brown! Give us brown!
No. When the guy was asked if this was a good idea, he went, and that's how it got its name.
Probably. I mean, I didn't mind the controls. I kind of got used to them. It's just space taxi in it, but brown. I don't know. It's okay.
Cave taxi.
Yeah, space, whatever. Yeah, it's weird. There's just, it is overwhelmingly brown. And that's its problem because everything does become a miasma of brown. And so you're trying to make stuff out. And it's like, I don't know. Why didn't they make the background like a jungle or something? Or anything else to break up the screen?
Rick Dangerous's graphics sprang to mind because then they could have gone full brown like that and they didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. There's loads of games like this. Wouldn't mind if it was just like a black background with some palm trees or something else. Yeah, just didn't need it.
Not brown.
Just platforms with doors in. I think they wanted to make it seem like it was the side of a cliff or something. But it's like
brown cliff.
We're not looking for verisimilitude in C64 games. We're quite used to just being doors and people come out of them. It's like, we're happy with that. Don't worry about it. But they made it all brown. So if you can stand the brown, and you like Space Taxi, you might get something out of this. But I did find it a bit finicky. And sometimes I'd land and sometimes I'd be dropping. And so tiny got and then go, bleh. I did like knocking cavemen into the water though. But whether. It's just too brown, isn't it? Yeah.
It is so brown, this game. It's like,
it's the equivalent of 100% yellow, isn't it? Just 100% brown.
It is. It's like a game. It's like being playing in the bottom of a hot chocolate, and not in a Errol Brown way.
Yeah, it's like looking into the eye of a choc dip.
Look into the eye of the choc dip and despair. I despise you and cast you into oblivion. Oh, thanks, Chocolate Merlin.
That's what it is. I have a choc dip. You're not going to put up with this. It's too brown. It's just too brown.
Did we say the word brown a lot, do you think, in that? I think we're going to win the Brown Award for the most brown said in a brown sentence.
We did,
brown.
Yeah. I think we did. I just shove a Burley in. Burley Brown.
Yeah, because somebody said, didn't they? They counted our burls. Well, now count the brown. Count the brown. Brown, count it. Count it. Get in there. Count that brown.
Yeah, brown girl in the ring.
A brown-eyed girl. While listening to Brown-Eyed Girl, yeah, and also Boney M and Brown Girl in the Ring.
Yeah, that is Boney M.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Golden Brown by the Stranglers.
Yeah, because that's what you'll want to do after this.
Yeah, there you go. That's it's brown. Let's move on. We still have one game this week.
Brown.
And that game is Brown 52. So B52. It could stand for Brown. B52.
Hey.
Weird title, this. Weird game. Nothing like a good pun title to raise a titter, is there? So here we have B52, which is not a game about large World War II bombers, but about a bee who may or may not be 52 days old or something. I don't know.
Okay. Old for a bee.
It is potentially from Codemasters, this, but it was never released because they just couldn't be bothered.
Because they couldn't be bothered with that.
Yeah, they couldn't be bothered to it at the time, as the market had just about disappeared for the old C64. By the time this was about to release, they were like, sod that. So they didn't release it. However, that good old site, Games That Weren't, has a bit on this, saying the following. B52 was to be one of Codemasters' last ventures in the C64 market before moving fully onto the 16-bits. It did well enough on the likes of the NES, but the C64 version never quite made it. Some will argue, though, that it did get a release, but it never got an official Codemasters release. Although reviewed in Commodore Format and Commodore Force, Codemasters decided that sales were too poor now for the C64 decided to not release the game, even though it was complete. However, the game's author, Nick Taylor, came to an agreement with Codemasters to release the game via mail order. No fancy inlays, just a basic disc with instructions that were apparently photocopied from a standard set that Codemasters produced. However, it was through this that the game inevitably got cracked and spread. There you go. So another game that wasn't, or kind of was, I don't know. It wasn't. So this was not released by Codemasters, but was coded by Nick Taylor. He did Adidas Championship Football, if you remember that. Interchange.
Yeah.
Johnny Quest, Mean Machine, Scooby and Scrappy Doo, Steg the Slug, and quite a few others as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few there.
Visuals by Jason Brassill, and the musician is Gerard Gorley. I've seen them before as well. There's a nice loading screen to this, showing the titular bee being chased by a frog as he holds onto some honey. Now he's got the front end of this. He's wearing World War II flying goggles in a vain attempt to make that title work. And we get to the title screen. It's blue. It's got a nice logo, lots of insects flying about, and a nice tune. It's kind of what we've become used to with these budget titles. The Zeppelin games, they have those kind of nice, fancy front ends that are almost like arcade track sequences, don't they? Well, I've seen a lot of these. It's pleasant. Pressing Fire gets a couple of interstitial screens, the first showing your bee and telling you to collect honey from the flowers and get it back to the hive. The second shows a warning to protect the honey from bug-eyed bubble monsters. Press Fire and we're into the game proper. So this is a bi-directional horizontal shooter, I suppose, where you control the eponymous bee, or B-52. Because this never came out, I don't know if there's a story for this. Doesn't really matter, though. The main playing area is a little more than the top half of the screen, and at the bottom there's the UI. This shows the timer as a green bar on the left, your lives as a load of bees, your score, a spoon head. Is that what they call the top of the spoon bit? The spoon bit of a spoon. Is it a spoon head? I was trying to remember. I was trying to think what they call that bit.
It was the scoop, isn't it? The scoop?
The spoon scoop. That sounds weird.
It's just, the scoop of the spoon. Is that just the spoon? I don't know. Is that the ladle of the spoon? I don't know. That's something you need to look up, that is.
Yeah, I was going to, but I didn't. But it's the spoon scoop. All right, okay. And there's a partly filled jar of honey. It's quite nicely all drawn as well. It's quite nice that you are. You control your bee with usual 8-way controls. Although he does bob up and down because he's a bee. He's got kind of a flight. He's like, as you move left and right, which does make it awkward to judge narrow gaps. The fire button shoots something or other. I don't know what it fires. Just fires stuff. Spacebar does a sting, which I found quite useless. And the instructions, which I found in issue 53 of Commodore Format, say you can press B for a smart bomb when you collect them from insects that drop them on level 2 onwards. There are 8 levels to work your way through, and level 1 offers a very false sense of security. So when the game starts, you will immediately see a big arrow pointing to a flower. These are big flowers. Okay, simply fly up to it and your bee will crawl inside and get the honey. When done, the flower will close up, meaning you can't revisit it. And a little bit of honey will appear in the spoon. A little further on is another arrow pointing to a flower, so just do the same. Each time you do this, some honey will appear in the spoon. You, as I said, collect 3 lots of honey, which is all you can carry, and then fly back to the hive at the start of the level. Basically, go in at the top of the screen, and you automatically deposit the honey. You only need 3 flowers on level 1 to proceed. Basically, the honey gets deposited, the amount in the spoon goes down, the amount in the jar goes up, and once the jar is filled, you progress to the next level. You might want to explore, though, to get used to the enemies that appear on level 2 onwards and further into level 1. You don't have to, though. You can just take the honey back and you're straight to level 2. If you do deposit honey, we get a very good animation of the little bee. And we get basically, there's an interstitial, the honey jar in the middle of the screen and the top coming down, spinning round with the bee on top of it. And it actually is quite well animated. It looks quite nice. And then we're on to level 2, where we can collect bombs from flying insects. They have to be very quick, though, and kill them close up. Because they do that thing where the power-up sort of flies up and then drops off the screen immediately, rather than just staying where it should, which annoys the shit out of me. We had that in another game recently. Just stay. You've killed it. Let me collect it. Don't make it a pain. So we get the bombs if we want, and they're smart bombs. Things get instantly trickier, though. So at this point, enemies start jumping up from below the ground or dropping from the top of the screen. And some insects will have taken root in the flowers, and they'll be shooting you from them, meaning you need to kill them, but you can only shoot them at a certain level. And remember, you're bobbing up and down, and they're shooting bullets that home in on you. So trying to get level with them and fire at them while bobbing up and down and avoiding homing bullets, that's quite tricky. Contract with anything any of these enemies instantly kill you, and it's back to the beginning of the level to start again. And this, is where the game commits its most heinous crime. When you die, you lose any honey you have collected from the flowers.
You do.
Just one thing. Okay, fair enough, whatever. However, the flowers you have already visited remain closed. So you need to proceed further into the level to find new flowers, which is quite frankly ridiculous. So it punishes you twice, because all the enemies, and not only that, because of all the enemies, not only that, killing the enemies only gives you a few seconds reprieve because they respawn, meaning backtracking through the levels is just as, if not harder, than moving forward through them. If the play area is tight, only half the screen or so is actual play area, which means you don't have much room to maneuver. And there's things like wasps. There's those things, and wasps just homing on you, and so wasps just straight in on you. So to try and kill them, you got to hit them a few times. So you're flying backwards away from them to try and turn around and shoot, because you're shooting the way you're flying. But wasps are coming after you. You've also got those things that are respawning out of flowers and stuff jumping up from below or climbing on trees. It's really hard, this game.
Yeah.
So you're going to die a lot. And every time you die, you have to travel further to find more flowers. So that loop becomes doubly punishing, constantly punishing. I don't understand why games do this, like triple punitive action on you when you die. Losing a life is the punishment. Putting you back to the beginning, that's the punishment. But to then take away the honey that you could try and collect again, and also keep the flowers closed, feels a step way too far. Way too far. Because remember, and in the second level, you need more than 3 flowers worth of honey. So you've got to go get 3 flowers worth, come back to the hive, then go further out to collect another load, and then come back again to pass that level. Now, if those first few flowers are permanently closed, you just got no chance, because the game is there's not enough room to maneuver. All that nice UI at the bottom is taking up way too much screen space. If the screen space was bigger, you'd have more of a chance, but you don't. So, this is a game that just drives you away. It drives you away because deaths lead to the greatest crime, which is not respecting your time. You just got to do it, and you're just going through the same old bit of level time and time again and getting killed. I'm not going to persevere with a game that feels like it wants to kick you in the head after kicking you in the balls. I'm just not going to do it. Damage is done, thanks. I've already lost a life, and we've seen this kind of double or triple level punishment before in games. It's never a good thing. It's a shame, because the feel of this is quite nice. The hazy colours and visuals are attractive. The backgrounds are quite nice. Everything's big because you're a little bee. So the flowers are big, and there's actually quite a nice feel to this, a pastoral feel to this. And it does control pretty well in the here and now, apart from that little bobbing up and down, which I didn't quite like. But like I said, like a play space to avoid enemies, painful. The respawning and the harsh nature of not being able to collect from the flowers that you already collected from when you die, that's just horrible. So no, it just ruined it for me, and I turned it off because I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I've got other things to do with my day. And so it just, what could have been a nice little pleasant shoot 'em up of 8 levels turned into a pain in the ass. What did you think?
Not a great deal more to add. I thought this was a depressingly daft game, killed by its own stupidity. It looked okay, I suppose, in its own bright, colourful-ish enough way. Had some nice production-y vibes, but it just wasn't quite all there, was it? Well, at least it wasn't for me. And I didn't enjoy playing it. So not loads to say about it. It's a shame that this is Codemasters, well, lack of Codemasters kind of, I guess, not final hurrah really, was it? Because they didn't actually hurrah it.
No.
But it just seems a shame that they didn't because the Codemasters had a bit of a hit and miss history, but they're generally more hit than miss, I think, safe to say. And the early games of Codemasters were all pretty cool. And they were obviously they were making a lot of money on the 16 bits and consoles and stuff. So this was just kind of like, I think they'd had enough. But there's parts of this I thought it felt like it could have really been something had they sort of gone the extra mile with it. Yeah. As it turns out, when I was flying about, I found it a bit annoying. It felt a bit easy going about as well. There wasn't a great deal of challenge in it, really, other than, I was just flying around. And it wasn't, I went to the first flower and kind of wiggled my way into it and did all of that. I thought, this is quite an ingenious idea. Then it took me no time at all to get to the next one, and then it wouldn't let me do it anyway. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm just flying around as a bee. And I thought once I sort of realised that, and I just couldn't quite get into the game. And as I sort of played it around, I'm like, it just feels like this game has no purpose. And I think that's why they didn't release it, because they're like, it just doesn't really have a point. And so I didn't enjoy. Well, it's not that I didn't. There's nothing to enjoy as far as I could see. I tried playing it as much as I could, and I just thought I'm not getting into it. But I did feel like it was a bit of a shame, because I thought there was something to the graphics in this. There was some of the B graphics and the backgrounds and everything. It had the makings of something quite good, but I just don't think it quite got there, did it?
No.
So, and that's and that is a shame. So.
It's that stupid mechanic of closing the flowers up and then not allowing you to return to them. When everything else respawns, the flowers could have easily been simple, sort of thing like, the flowers will respawn back open. Yeah, because
bees don't kill the flowers, do they? So
they don't close up and there's no pollen left.
No,
the bees go to them.
Exactly. It's just, I don't know. And where more bees would have been quite good. A hive, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It had some of the aesthetic ideas, and it had some nice structure, but it felt a bit like a student game that, it's one of those student games where you go to it and you go, and that you really want them to do better with it, and they're just like, no time.
Change this mechanic. Change this mechanic and make it a bit more player friendly. You'll have a decent little game.
And each time you come back, they haven't done it. I remember with students making a game called Diddy Dinos many, many moons ago, and that had that problem. Every time I came to it, I'm like, just do this one thing that'll make this game better. Like, yeah, okay. You come back to it, it's like, you haven't done the one thing I said to make it better. Oh, yeah, we just haven't got to. We've just made all this map bigger, and we've got a really well-animated dinosaur doing a dance. I'm like, that's great. It doesn't answer the main problem of the game, does it? So, yeah, you try to help them, but you can't always be, can't be successful at everything, can you? So, anyway, that's what my thoughts were. Was what it was. B-52s as well. They're a good band. So don't do that. Don't do that.
No. There you go. That's it for this week. Another 4 games from the annals of Commodore Force. Nick Faldos Championship Golf is by far the standout.
Just a bit.
Crazy Cars 3 is rubbish. Is brown.
Yep.
And B-52 is not all there, really. Not what it could be. A missed opportunity, maybe.
Yep.
There you go. Do I have what we're doing next week? Yeah. So okay. So that's it for the games for this month. We actually, do you want to announce what we're doing for because obviously we've let our patrons know, because we do that in our special Patreon exclusive episode, so they already know what's coming up for the second episode of this month.
Yeah, I think we should talk about it. We should.
Yeah, we should. We'll let them know. So for the next episode, for our non C64 episode for August, we are going to be turning the page to paragraph 62. And seeing what Mandrake has in store for us as we enter the world of the Fighting Fantasy game books, although Mandrake was clearly from the Way of the Tiger Avenger books. So we're going to be looking at the Fighting Fantasy game books. In particular, we're going to look at 2. That is Death Trap Dungeon, Ian Livingstone's Death Trap Dungeon, and Steve Jackson's House of Hell. We have originals of them, so we've been playing through them and haven't seen how that's going. And we're going to discuss them and just talk about sort of Fighting Fantasy game books, our experience with them, memories of them, and things like that. I think it's going to be a good episode.
I think it will be, yeah. I mean, I've been working my way through Death Trap Dungeon, like you say. I actually ordered another one. I ordered House of the Doodar as well. It just hasn't arrived.
House of Hell.
I ordered House of Hell. It just hasn't arrived. And then I got a message from the bookseller on Amazon saying, sorry, it just got lost. I thought, that's ironic. So I felt like saying to her, just to go back, turn to page 7.
Absolutely. Use a different postal service.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm going to have to order another one. I mean, they're not bank breaking, are they? They're like £7 or something. So, but yeah, I am playing through Death Trap Dungeon, and it isn't as good as I remembered it. But that's because I suddenly remembered that the Livingstone ones Sorry, Surrey and Livingston were never quite as good as some of the others, but they're still fun to play all the same after all this time.
But yeah, so we'll be discussing them and talking about them in the next episode. So that should be a good time. Expect lots of, talking about the artwork, talking about the content, the series, sort of splay off into some of the other ones. So the way the Tiger books, the Lone Wolf, maybe Grey Star, those kind of things. Talk about all those. So that's what's coming up in the next episode. After that, obviously, we move to September. Would you like to know what September's games are going to be, Graham?
I think so.
Commodore Force stuff. So next month, the 4 games we will be looking at. It's a bit of a sporty episode, this one. A bit sporty. We've got World Championship Squash, so another squash game. We've got All-American Basketball, International Tennis.
God, more sports games, God.
It is. But then, to round it off, Suburban Commando.
Ooh,
the Hulk Hogan vehicle. I don't know what that's going to be like.
It's going to be rubbish. Yellow. It's going to be all yellow.
There's going to be an overpreponderance of yellow, isn't there? Yeah, probably.
Well, it's because old Hulk Hogan was all yellow, wasn't he? He had yellow hair, you wore yellow T-shirts, yellow pants.
Yeah, not in Suburban Commando, though. Didn't want it in blue.
I try not to think about it. I don't. So did he up to the day of his death. So.
Absolutely. Could be worse. Could be all brown.
Could be Thunderlips. His Thunderlips could be showing through his blue uniform there.
For those who backed our Kickstarter, work is progressing on the book.
It is.
Lots of words are being written. Typesetting has been typesetted. Illustrations have been illustrated. It is coming together nicely.
It is. We'll put an update out about that because we've had a bit of a format change and some different thoughts, and so there'll be quite a big update coming soon as well. So keep an eye out for that, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's keeping us busy, and that's about it. So hopefully, join us as we enter the world of Fighting Fantasy in a couple of weeks. And that's about it for this one. If you want to get the Patreon exclusive episode, you could have done it. You probably heard the shout out at the beginning, but you could do it by going to patreon.com/Zapped We've already done 3 and they've been quite well received. I do believe by our patrons. They seem to be digging it. Good discussion. Because they're actually just me and Graham discussing stuff and shit. So it's actually, and we get into all kinds of subjects and it's a good laugh. But if you want that, patreon.com/Zapped, and that comes out generally in the last week of the month. I think that's about it. Short episode, but it's just 4 games. So there you go. Anything you want to add, Graham?
No, I think, 4 games, 1 golf game, the other 3, no. And too much bloody brown. I'm still got flickery brown eye. Nobody wants that.
Flickery buzzing brown. That's
Faldos flickery brown eye.
Which one? Which Faldo?
Which one? Which eye? I think you meant which eye then. I was like,
Bick, kick, pick, wick.
Rick. Yeah, Dick, of course, or Richard, as we like to call him.
Yeah.
Zick.
Yeah, Dick and Rick. You always get them confused.
Nick, knack, paddy, whack.
Yeah, all those. And on that Faldo note, I think we should say goodbye for this week. As ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
I have been Graham Raddings.
And you've been listening to a Brown episode. And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. If you decide to turn to page 64, that is.
Exactly. Oh, very good. Yes, very good. Brown eye on you.
Stare into the eye of the choc dip.
No. I don't want to.
Graham. Stare. Right, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as all the other amazing things we like to talk about, inspired, of course, by our lifelong friendship and journeys through all those fun games, times, TV shows, films, music, and everything in between and beyond. We will, of course, return very soon with another episode to explore more games and other exciting stuff. Until then, if you want to listen to all the previous episodes of the podcast, you can. Just go to our website at zappedtothepast.com and you'll find them all there. Alternatively, you can also find us on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Google, all of them. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. We also have a Patreon, which gives you early access to ad-free episodes, instant access to our amazing Discord server, discounts on our zappedtothepast.shop merchandise, a shout-out, and even involvement in the odd episode or two, all for less than the price of a sandwich. Go to patreon.com/zappedtothepast and join in the fun at the C64 tier. We do always like to hear from our listeners, so if you'd like to communicate with us, you can contact us via the website at zappedtothepast.com zaptethepast@gmail.com, email us at zaptethepast@gmail.com, or find us on all the usual social media platforms. And if you like what we're doing, you can like, share, and write reviews because it really does help us out. Zapped to the Past is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings, and produced at the legendary Flaky Bits 2.0 studio. All opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the writers, and while we indeed love the Commodore 64 and everything about it, we are not affiliated with any particular Commodore 64 magazine or publication in any way. Stay safe, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.